Sunday is our Give Joy campaign. Throughout all of this Corona mess that we're all going through, at the Chabad, we've really been focusing on giving joy and finding opportunities to cheer us all up and bring happiness and bring faith and bring connection. So that's why our campaign is called the Give Joy campaign, because through everyone's support, that's how you're able to give joy to somebody else, to another person right here in our community. So it's a 36-hour campaign starting at Sunday at 10 a.m. till Monday at 10 p.m. Our goal is to raise $100,000 in 36 hours. And we have 5 matchers that have, put up $50,000, and now so every dollar that you give is actually doubled for these 36 hours. So join the Give Joy campaign on Sunday. That's what that's all about. Next in your bag, you're going to have some baking chocolate. Now, this is a very important part of what we're going to be doing, because you really need good quality products in order to get the results that you want. So the chocolate that we're using is a Swiss baking chocolate. It is non-dairy. So that's good for all those, that have dairy issues, but it makes it a little bit more difficult to get a good quality. It makes it a little harder to get a good quality chocolate when it's totally non-dairy, but it's a very, very high chocolate content, which is great. So that we have a nice, good quality chocolate. This is the same chocolate. We just thought that, although the recipe calls for 10 ounces, we wanted to give you a little extra. Of course, you can always eat it if it's leftover. So that's the same thing. Tell you what else you have in here. You have your marshmallows and your hot cocoa mix, which goes in your chocolate molds. So a note about this hot cocoa mix. First of all, it is dairy. Everything else in the packet is parve, is non-dairy. So if you have a dairy issue, this is dairy. It has milk protein in it, milk powder or whatever you call it in it. Now, I read the ingredients. I did not see any gluten ingredients in here, but it is not certified gluten-free. It did say it has artificial flavoring, so I guess those that are sensitive, be wary of that. Next, we have some white chocolate. That's to make the nice little design on the outside. And we have some sprinkles, some silver sprinkles, some blue sprinkles just for decorating. We have our pastry bag, which is going to be for the white chocolate, and a paintbrush, which can help in spreading the chocolate, but you don't have to use it. It's just a preference. And then of course our recipe cards. So step number 1 is you have to melt your chocolate. So the way you do that is you open up your bar, and the way I've done this, I think this is the recipe that I did the most test runs on, because the chocolate bombs that we see that are so popular are made with half circle molds. Now, half circle molds is a whole lot easier to work with than a multi-dimensional mold like this that has all these different shapes and angles to them. So this is something I practice again and again and again, and I really believe that I got the right trick. But and part of that practicing taught me that the best way to do this is actually only to do two dreidels, 2 half dreidels at a time, which is 1 full dreidel at a time. Because this way, when you're maneuvering the mold in order to get out your, your chocolate, you're not cracking the ones that you already have. So that's how I've been doing it. The first 2 trials or so, where I did the whole sheet at a time, I found it impossible to really pop out so gently the top ones without ruining the rest. So that's how I'm going to do it. Therefore, I don't recommend melting the entire amount of chocolate at a time. I'm just going to take about 1/3 of what we have here, and you want to crack it up, put it in a microwave safe bowl, and you're going to melt it. Okay, so that's, I guess, 3 rows. I'll take another one, just have some extra. Breaking up my chocolate, and there we have it. And the way that we are going to microwave this is at 15-second intervals. So we turn it on 15 seconds, give it a stir, put it back in, stir 15 seconds, etc. And the reason why we do it that way is because chocolate can burn very, very easily. So let me show you how. You're going to move it much better. Leave it there. Okay, leave it there. Okay, so I'm going to stick it in the microwave. for 15 seconds, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, in between, so you can see that. Okay, so the first time you do it, there's basically no change. You could even do 30 seconds the first time around because nothing really is going to happen. But after that, you will see that you just need just the short little 15-second intervals at a time. Okay, so again, now just the very, very bottom is starting to melt. I'm not going to come back and forth just because it's going to take forever, but I'll show you when it gets important. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so again, 15 seconds and leaving it in there. So I hope you all have microwaves at home. If not, again, the double broiler works fine. Take a big pot, put it like probably about a quarter of the way with water. Take a smaller bowl, metal bowl, put it inside and melt it like that. Basically, chocolate needs indirect heat, so which the microwave is. Okay, so now you'll start seeing it is starting to melt, but I'm mixing it first so that the hot chocolate begins to melt the pieces that are still full. I think it needs one more time because it's still big pieces. And there we go. This is going to be the last 15 seconds. Okay. So here we go. Our chocolate is beautifully tempered. This is called tempering chocolate. It's beautifully tempered. You'll see that there are some big pieces still, and that's fine. I'm just going to continue mixing it, and the hot chocolate will melt the bigger pieces. So just mix, mix, mix. Still I have one piece left that's a little bit stubborn. Let's see if it melted now. By the way, this chocolate is delicious. Really, really good quality. Delicious, delicious chocolate. Okay, so you see even that one stubborn piece is now beautifully melted. And personally, I'm not sure why we even have to bother with the molds. We should just eat it straight out of the bowl. That would be my humble opinion. But anyways, so there we have it. The chocolate is melted. I have my molds available right here. I actually just made the ones that you see over there. So that's why you have the teeny little bit of chocolate shavings still inside. Okay, so I'm going to start with the top ones. So the first round, you're going to start off with putting a tablespoon into just 2 molds. Okay, and there's many different ways of working with the chocolate. The most basic way is to just simply tilt the mold around as you go, which we're going to do. The other way is to use the back of the spoon, which we're going to do as well. You could use a pastry brush. Personally, I found that a little bit difficult. And you could, when it comes to the more difficult spots, which are going to be this area, that's going to be the hardest area to make sure we coat well. You could use the brush. It has its advantages and disadvantages. It's a little bit uneven when you move it. I personally found my favorite thing is just to use the spoon and my good old finger when I want to get into the corners. But our goal is that we want to try to give a nice even coat, and we want to make sure that we get every single corner, every single spot. So it takes patience. You can't just like dump it in and that's it. It takes patience. Not only that, but it also takes trial and error. So the best thing about chocolate is that if you do it once and you set it and you don't like the way it looks or it cracks, guess what? Put it right back in your bowl, stick it in the microwave, and do it again and again and again, as many times until you like your results and like the way it came out. Okay, so I'm taking just a tablespoon of chocolate and dumping it right here into my mold. I'll add more if I need more. Taking a tablespoon and dumping it into my mold. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to start with tilting it. I'm starting into the tip. Okay, so I do it till almost it's going to drip out, and then I turn it, and again I'm just turning it and letting it go. You have to do it slowly. There's no shortcuts. There's no rush. This is chocolate. You have to have patience. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to start guiding it a little bit. So going into the tip area and just pushing it along slowly so I don't miss corners. Because again, we're building the mold. So if we rush and if we miss spaces, then it's just going to crack. Okay, so I just did like 2 sides like that. Then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to continue. I'm going to fix the spaces now from what I see I missed. And I'm going to start dragging the chocolate in this direction now. Okay, building up the inside over here and taking it along the bottom. So my chocolate, the amount of chocolate is getting a little low. So I want to keep this spoon cleaner. So I'm going to take one of the dirty spoons and just put a little bit more, not too much, not too little. So now I did 1 teaspoon and now I did kind of like maybe like a half a teaspoon to add to that. Okay, and that looks like just the right amount. Keep on drawing it along all my edges. Okay, so just keep on building up your layers as you go. Okay, so my walls are coated and I need a little bit more on the bottom. So again, I'm going back in with my teaspoon, drizzling in the areas that I'm missing, and then into this one. So now we're probably about 1.5 tablespoons or so. And I'm going to continue in with my clean spoon into those areas. Okay, so that's one of them complete. And now I'm going into this one and finishing up the area. So again, you want to do this slowly. You don't want to rush it. You want to make sure you get it all. And you also want to make sure that you have a decent covering everywhere. Okay, like some of my first trial runs that I did, I wanted it really smooth and I wanted it really even, and I ended up doing too thin of a layer. So you don't want to make that mistake. Okay, now for the tip, you could use your paintbrush and go in there and make sure your edges and your tip is good. But when you're doing that, make sure you're not actually taking away chocolate. Make sure you're just leveling the chocolate that's there. Okay. So I'm going in. You could do this with your finger. Now I'm checking it. I want to make sure it's really, really complete. Evening that out a little bit. Again, you could use your finger. You don't have to use this paintbrush if you don't want to. Okay, just going to make sure the tips are good. Okay, so that is the fully coated chocolate mold. As you'll see, it's a decent amount of chocolate. It's not a exceptionally thick layer, but neither is it a scant layer. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I do see some little spots. So I'm just going to put my finger and smooth the little spots where I see the mold coming through. There's a few little spots there. And now I think it's complete. I'm just going to rinse off my finger there. Okay, so here comes a little debate. And the debate is, should you let the chocolate harden in the fridge or let the chocolate harden in the freezer? So apparently the real correct way to do it is in the fridge. Because if you do it in the freezer, there is a risk that you'll get the chocolate too cold. And when it's super cold, it actually cracks easier. So I've done it both ways. And all my test runs, my conclusion is that if you leave it in the freezer just for 5 minutes, That is not too long and not too short. Of course, if we had all day and we wanted to sit here together, you know, all night on Zoom, we can do it in the fridge and it would take longer. So I'm going to put it in the freezer on a flat shelf, right? Make sure you have a flat space in your freezer. And I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and take questions. Okay, Mushka's going to put it in the freezer for me. And I'm setting my timer. I'm setting my timer over here for 5 minutes. Where's my clock? There we go. Timer, 5 minutes, start. Okay, so I'm going to turn the laptop around because I'm just facing the webcam, and I'm going to stop and take questions. Got that. Okay, so first I'm going to check the chat box and see if there's any questions that came in there. Please, can you record this? Yes, we are recording this. If you have a question, can they unmute themselves now or no? Allow participants to unmute yourself. Yes. Okay, so if you have a question, you could unmute yourself and ask your question. If not, then we'll continue.
Hon, I came super late. I'm just melting the chocolate in the microwave.
Yes, melting the chocolate in the microwave every 15 seconds, 15 seconds intervals. Give it a little stir, and then coat your lining very, very well. Okay, so
I didn't realize that we needed milk, and I was gonna get milk today, but I didn't. So can I do it? Can I make them and then do it tomorrow?
absolutely, yes. Personally, I think they're way too beautiful to dump milk on them. But yes, you could do that, no problem.
Okay.
Any other questions? Marcia, go ahead.
This is actually more of a comment about oh my God, I can't think of the word. The Joy of Giving
Campaign, yes.
campaign on Sunday. Hopefully everybody will join the campaign and donate. But Sunday from 12 to 6, we're having a phone-a-thon at the shul. So we're going to call people and ask them to donate. We have a lot of fun. We're going to totally social distance because I'm a major germophobic. So if anybody would like to join us and make phone calls, it's so rewarding. And you're like getting so many mitzvah points for coming to do this with the man above. So please come join me Sunday from 12 to 6 and even Monday, like at 4 o'clock, and help us reach our goal. It's so important because what Rabbi and Hannah do for everybody, it's the least that we could do to help give back. And really, I couldn't think of a better campaign than Give Joy, because if you think about how miserable people have been the last 8 months or however long it's been, and how happy and joyful people get from all the things that Rabbi and Hannah do, it's really a mitzvah for us to help them, to help other people. So please donate Sunday. I don't think the link is live yet, so you can donate early, but I don't know if you can yet or not.
No, it's not live. It's going to go live Sunday morning.
Okay, so donate Sunday morning. Please give generously, and take it from me, every penny that you give, Hashem gives you back threefold at least. I've been such a witness to that. And give, and if you could come help us make phone calls, that would be so appreciated. You could either text me or you could text Rabbi and tell him you could come. I'll do a chat with my phone number, so please come help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Actually, one additional thing that I wanted to add to what Marcia was saying is that actually Sunday night, we're going to be having a live on Facebook Live, like a little campaign event with some interviews with some of the matchers and some entertainment. So I think it's going to be around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So look out for that. Yes, Adele.
How long in the refrigerator if you don't use the freezer?
So the refrigerator is going to take probably double. I'm going to tell you when I take it out what to look for to know if it's ready. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Not that you didn't give us enough chocolate, trust me, more than I could ever consume. But when I was looking at the Facebook page, it said gold coins. So am I missing them, or that didn't even happen?
No, because we thought we were going to use those, but no, they didn't. That wasn't quite the right thing. So no, that
That's fine.
was ditched.
Gave
That was
us
ditched.
more than enough,
Yeah.
trust me.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about a little bit now before, while the chocolate is in the freezer, is always when we get together, one of our objectives is to share words of Torah. So I'm going to share with you my very, very favorite Hanukkah story. And some of you probably already know what my favorite Hanukkah story is because it's really my favorite. So I really do share it a lot. But we all know the story of Hanukkah, the story of the Maccabees, the small army made up of, Jewish rabbis and Jewish, scholars that were not at all trained in warfare or anything like that. That's 5 minutes. Okay, take it out. We're not at all trained in any kind of warfare, and how they went over this mighty, powerful Greek army, the superpower of the world at that time. And actually the fighting took place for a long time. It's a total of 25 years from when the battles began till the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, was actually able to be restored and the menorah lit and all of that. But what a lot of people don't know is about some of the really important battles along the way, and specifically about a Jewish heroine that I'm going to tell you about right now. So I just put it in, so we'll stop the story 1 second. So I just put it in for 5 minutes. See, it looks really nice and set. It looks totally hardened. But guess what? When I take my finger and I press it, my finger comes up chocolatey. So that means it's really not fully set yet, even though at 5 minutes was my magic number last time. You always have to check it. So it's almost there. It's almost fully set, but my finger should not come up chocolatey like that. You should touch it. It should be totally firm and cold. So my assistant Mushka is going to put it back in the freezer for another minute. Yes, you absolutely could use almond milk. I'm personally using almond milk because my microwave is actually meat. So being that I'm melting all my chocolate, I can't eat my chocolate with milk. So that's what I'm doing. Mushka, there's a space right here in this freezer. Okay, so let's set a timer for 1 minute. Alarm, timer. Let's do 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we'll have some time for the story. Okay, 1 minute and 30 seconds, the timer is set. So there was a city called Bethula, which was in the north of Israel. And there was a fierce battle taking place in the city. And the general, the Greek general that was, kind of battling that city was somebody by the name of Helifornis. And he was known to be really, really ruthless and have zero compassion on anybody, on anything at all. So what happened he had tried to battle the Maccabees in that city. And he, time and time again, whatever he tried, the Maccabees were just, even though there were so few, they were fighting so bravely that he was, losing more and more men. And he decided, he's going to change his tactics. Instead, he is going to put the city under siege. And he's just going to wait, because he has all the time in the world. He's just going to wait until the Jews of the city literally starve to death and surrender. And that's exactly what started happening. He cut off their water supply. He burnt their stock houses of food, and the city of Bethula was literally starving to death. And the general for the Maccabees was somebody by the name of Uzziah, a wonderful, righteous man. And he was trying as much as he could to, whatever tactics he had to try and, try to get I'll take it out. Stop it. Yeah. To try to, to get food for the people, but they were literally starving. And they came to him and they said, Uzziah, enough. We just have to surrender. There's nothing else. There's nothing more we can do. And Uzziah begged them. He said, give me 5 more days for me and my men to try and, to get Helifornis. And the people agreed, and they said, okay, 5 more days. Okay. We have 1.5 minutes now in the freezer. And it is, I would say, okay, but I'm still getting a teeny bit of chocolate on my finger. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. Another minute, yeah. So I guess Hashem wants us to have time for the story. I did see somebody post that they didn't get their hot chocolate. I'm really, really sorry. We checked and checked and checked the bags again, and somehow mistakes happen. I have plenty of hot chocolate, and I'm happy. I think it's Alexandria. I'm happy to give you some tomorrow. So I'll post my number in the comments, and you're welcome. We can get in touch tomorrow, and I'll give you lots more hot chocolate. But anyways, as the people from the city dispersed, there was one woman there named Yehudit, Judith in English, or Yehudit in Hebrew. And she was a widow. She was the daughter of the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. And her husband, Menashe, had already been killed in the fighting with, he was a Maccabee and he'd already been killed. And she was this young, beautiful widow all alone. And she came to Uzziah, the head of the Maccabees in Bethulia. And she said, Uzziah, we can't give up. We cannot surrender to the Greeks. And she said, please let me try to go to Halifornis. And he said, Judith, you're this wonderful woman. Don't sacrifice yourself. Don't lose your self-respect. Don't do that. And she said, please, you tried everything. Just as Yael saved the city from, so many years ago, please give me the chance to see what I can do. And so, Uzziah agreed, and Yehudit took her maidservant, dressed herself beautifully and went to Halifornis. And the guards, see this beautiful woman coming, and they asked her, what's going on? She said, oh, I just wanted to meet the General Halifornis. Let me check it. And she convinced them with her charming ways to let her go meet the general. And she goes and she meets the General Halifornis, and she tells him, oh, I've heard so much about your bravery and your courage, and I just wanted to meet you and, see you for myself. And of course he was, is it good? Okay, so finally we have no chocolate left on my finger and we are good. So we're gonna pause the story. We're gonna continue in a minute. I'm gonna show you the next step over here. So we have our dry molds, and we have our chocolate. This time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the chocolate, yeah, you can turn around. This time we're gonna put the chocolate along the walls of the dreidel first, because what's gonna happen this time around is that being that this is cold, it's gonna start to set the chocolate right away. So last time, because of gravity, the bulk, the thickness of the chocolate went to the bottom of the mold. So now we wanna make sure to build up the cavity, the walls of our dreidel. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna dump a glob in the bottom like I did last time. Instead, I'm gonna do smaller amounts on the side because it's gonna set pretty quickly. Okay, so I put some on my spoon and I'm smearing along the wall. And again, just a little bit on my spoon and smearing along the wall. And again, on my spoon. Extra attention to this, the area of the tip of the dreidel, being that there's so many different curves in that little space. Okay, I'm just continuing along like that over all the walls of my dreidel are nice and done. Okay. Next, I'm going to go into the bottom. Go into the bottom. This time it's actually going to be easier with my finger to get into the bottom. So that's what I'm going to use, because now I don't want to mess up the walls as I go. Smoothing it all out. Smoothing it all out. And again, this is the inside. Nobody sees this. So don't worry if it doesn't look pretty, because nobody sees this part. Okay, so I think I covered it all. And as you see, it starts to set right away. See? Take out all of my paintbrush here. And let's go to the second one now. Oops, I forgot to do the walls. Okay, so to the walls first. And here we go, just dragging it along the walls as we go. Dragging it along the walls as we go. Okay. Now again, paying special attention, putting a little extra chocolate in this area to make sure that it's built up nice and thick. Not too thick because then it'll never set, but you know, an in-between place. That's what we're aiming for. We don't want it to be super thin, that, you know, and we don't either want it to be super thick. Okay, again, I'm going to go with my finger on the bottom because now that my walls are done, it's hard to reach. And I'm still making sure to get every corner, even though it's only the second layer. This second layer is important because it's going to give my mold the stiffness it's going to need in order for me to get it out without cracking. Now, if you were doing a regular circular, you know, hot chocolate bomb, you probably would not need to do 2 layers because again, the circular mold is a lot easier to work with and easier to get out without cracking. Okay, so there we have it. Covered all the sections over there. And I'm gonna put the timer back on. Mushka, you wanna put it back in? So this time, I'll do it for 6 minutes. Maybe it's because I'm using a different freezer. Last time I used a freezer in the garage. This one I'm using in the kitchen. So maybe that's affecting, you know, how quickly it's setting. Okay, camera stable. There we go. Okay, put it in, Mushka. What? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm pressing start for 6 minutes on the timer, and we'll take that out again. Okay, so back to our story. Yehudit, as we say in Hebrew, is meeting this general Halifornis, and she tells him, you know, I have to tell you, I have to confess that the morale in the city of Bethulia is very, very low, and there is this conversation going on about, you know, about surrendering, and you know, the people are giving Uzziah 5 more days until, you know, they're willing to surrender. And I'll tell you the secret of the Jewish people. And of course, Halifornis is very, very intrigued. And she tells him that, you know, very soon we're going to run out of kosher food. And once we run out of kosher food, we're going to start eating non-kosher food and all kinds of non-kosher animals. And with that, the protection, Hashem's protection of the Jewish people is going to be lost. And that's going to be the ideal time for you and your men to come and attack the city of Bethulia. So Halifornis is really, really intrigued, this beautiful woman giving him the secrets of her people, the secrets to her city. And he tells her, you know what, you're such a smart, courageous, wise woman. If you help me conquer the city, you're going to become my princess, my wife. You're going to be, you know, have all these luxuries and you know, whatever your heart desires, I'm going to give you. And she, Yehudit, turns on her charm and says, of course, I'm going to help you. And I'm going to scout. I'm going to, you know, walk back and forth, not back and forth, but I'm going to, you know, go around the city, and I'm going to kind of get the mood of what's going on in the city. And I'm going to come back and report to you. And that's what she did. First thing she did, she went back to Uzziah and she told Uzziah, have faith, tell the people to have faith. Halifornis completely trusts me, and God willing, Hashem will deliver him into my hand. And she would go about, you know, going from her home in the Jewish city of Bethulia and then back out to visit Halifornis. And Halifornis actually set up a tent for her and her maidservant so that they'd be comfortable hanging out in, you know, in the army camps that he has. And after a couple of days of slowly building the trust of, you know, Halifornis and of the guards, they really began to trust her and be comfortable, you know, that she was really going to help them out. And, you know, one day she comes to Halifornis and she says, it's almost time. The people are really, really starving, and pretty soon there will be no more food left at all. And they're finally going to start eating non-kosher animals, and that's the time to attack them. And Halifornis is so happy, so excited. And Yehudi says, oh, you know, I actually brought with me some of my famous goat cheese. I'm famous in the whole of, you know, the area of Judea for my delicious goat cheese. Would you like some? And she offers him from her, from her bag, this delicious goat cheese. And of course, once you start eating cheese that is very, very salty, he begins to get very thirsty. And she just happens to have some strong red wine with her as well, and pours him 1 glass of red wine, 2 glasses of red wine, and 3 glasses of red wine. And they're eating and they're talking and they're drinking and having a grand old time until just a little while later, Halifornis is fast asleep in a drunken stupor right there in the tent. And Yehudit, the strong, courageous woman that she was, says a silent prayer to Hashem to give her strength, bends over reach into Halifornis's robes, pulls out his sword, and chops off his head. She takes his head, wraps it in a cloth, and puts it in her bag. She then discreetly leaves the tent and goes to the top, the center of the army camp that they had. And she takes, there was some kind of, gate or some kind of fence over there. And she takes Halifornis's head and puts it there on the stake. And the soldiers see their general Halifornis, his head, he's killed, and they're panicked, and they don't know where to look or where to turn, thinking at any moment they're going to be attacked, and they begin to scatter. Yehudit, who prefaced Uzziah, the general, that this was going to happen, is right there with his men, and the whole city of Bethulia is saved because of this righteous, wonderful, strong woman, Yehudit. And therefore, because of her, Hanukkah is actually a special holiday for women as well. There are actually other women heroines in the story that also played very, very pivotal roles. And that is my very favorite Hanukkah story. So I wanted to share all of that with you so that we remember the strong Jewish woman of the past and recognize the essential role that we as Jewish women have today to be the educators, to be the role models for our children, and of course, all of those that we interact with about the values and the morals of the Torah and of Judaism. Now, just a little word about chocolate. So we know that on Hanukkah, we have the custom to eat donuts, latkes, and of course, chocolate, right? Why not, right? So people ask, is it a mitzvah to eat a donut, right? Like on Pesach, you have the mitzvah to eat matzah, right? Do we have to be that religious about eating donuts on Pesach? Donuts on Hanukkah? Do we have to do 1 a day, 2 a day, 5 a day? What's the halacha involved? Because on eating matzah on Pesach, there's very clear definition. You have to eat matzah the first night at the Seder and the second night of the Seder. And there's actually a specific amount of matzah you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to eat a half of a round shmura matzah. So there's very specific guidelines. So what are the guidelines for eating donuts on Hanukkah? Because I need to know. But anyways, there actually isn't any guidelines because eating donuts on Hanukkah is a custom. It's a minhag. It actually is not a halacha. It's actually not a law. Moshe, going to take it out? But it is very, very essential. Of course, because it's delicious, and of course, because it's yummy. But really, the reason why it's so essential is because Judaism is really about enjoying the mitzvot and enjoying the holidays and enjoying the connection that we feel and that we have with the holidays and with the mitzvot when we do it, in a way that we can enjoy it. So, customs that we have like this of eating donuts, of eating latkes, although it's not a mitzvah, although it's not something that we need to do, the enjoyment of the holiday, having pleasure in the holiday from eating chocolate and enjoying that experience and having that memory of sitting around, I'm sure when we were little, we have all the different memories of whether it was gelt or latkes or whatever it was. And that creates a really, really deep Jewish connection that we have. And that's why, yes, doing things like making chocolate dreidels, even though it's not a mitzvah, is such a beautiful way to create wonderful joy and simcha in the Jewish holidays, and to feel that connection and that joy and that pleasure in the mitzvot and in the holidays. So here we have our molds. They're totally set. So my finger is totally dry when I pick it up. So again, if you did it in the fridge, you would just keep unchecking till you got that same thing. Now, this part is quite challenging. It took me a lot of practice to get this right, but I have all the secrets to share with you now, so I'm going to share them with you. Big thank you to Debbie Schwartz. She's not on here today, but she, is a professional baker and bakes and does all kinds of chocolatiering like this. And she gave me a lot of very helpful tips. So I'm going to share them with you now. The first, automatic way that people think to do this is just to kind of start pulling the sides. And actually it isn't. The best way to do this is actually to turn it upside down and to start massaging the back, because you want to release the center of your dreidel first. Okay. So I'm going to do this in a few ways. I'm rubbing the back like this, trying to release the center of the mold. So kind of pushing gently, like not no pressure. I'm not just touching it, but I'm not either like really giving it all my all. Okay, so I'm just going in there, it's upside down, rubbing it like that. That's step one. Once I did that, I'm going to continue doing that, but this time holding it like this. And again, pushing from the back. I'm pushing from underneath, not too hard because I don't want to crack it. So you really have to be patient. Don't rush it. It does take time. And best thing is, if you crack it, don't worry. You just stick it all back in the microwave and start again. Okay, so I'm just pushing. I am starting to see it release. So you'll see what I'm seeing as I'm pushing, but I'm pushing from under like that. Okay. So I'm definitely starting to see and feel it release slowly. I'm still keeping on the, and by the way, this is why you see that I, did not do the other ones at the same time. Okay. So just continuing to push from underneath. I'm not putting pressure on the walls because that's my weakest point, or on the tip, and just pushing from under, and it's starting to just come right out. Okay. I feel like this corner is the one that's still a little bit stuck. Yeah. So just continuing, and here we go. There it is. Our dreidel is ready. Beautiful, beautiful dreidel. Okay, look at that. See my back? Doesn't matter because nobody sees it, but my outside is really pretty. Another note about the kind of chocolate that we used. So a lot of people are tempted to use chocolate chips because a lot of times we have that more readily available in the house. It's much cheaper than baking chocolate as well. But if you did use chocolate chips for this, you would not have, see how the chocolate has like a nice, just a nice finished look, right? Like a bar of chocolate. If you use chocolate chips, it would have like a dull look to it. It wouldn't have that sheen to it. And also chocolate chips are made with some kind of something in it that makes it crack more easily. So anyways, here is my chocolate mold. I'm going to add it to my plate over here. And I'm going to move on to my next one. Okay. So again, first thing, turn it upside down, just massage the outside. Okay. A little bit of pressure, massaging the outside. I'm kind of like heating up the outside a little bit with my finger. Okay. Just so that it releases more easily. Again, slow and gentle. Talk nice to it. Be gentle. It'll work. And again, if it doesn't, put it in the microwave and start again. Okay, so again, I already feel that released it a lot. See, without even doing anything, it's already coming out. And then I'm just pushing from the inside. No pressure on the walls. No pressure on the tip. Those are weaker spots. I'm just continuing to push gently, moving my fingers along. I'm not keeping, you don't see my fingers from underneath, but this is what I'm doing. Now you see them. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm just pushing. I feel the top is out, and ta-da, the rest of it is out. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful dreidel. Okay, how do you like that? Awesome, right? Okay, so I'm going to add that to my plate over here. Okay, so the next step is going to be to fill our dreidels and to combine our dreidels as well. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can, my hands are all dirty, let me wash these a second. But there's a bunch of different ways that you can get your dreidel to the two sides to stick together. And I'll tell you your options, and I'll tell you the way that I prefer. So one option is to pipe some chocolate along the edges, right? So you could take some additional chocolate in your piping bag and you can drizzle it around the edges. I choose not to do it that way because it's very hard to have a perfectly steady hand and to get that piping so, so carefully. You also can end up having a lot of oozing along the sides, which, will kind of not look so pretty. So that option I don't choose to do. Another option is you can take a frying pan, put it on your burner, wait till it heats up a minute, and then put the dreidel into the frying pan like this, just for a minute. This edge will begin to melt and stick the other edge together. That's another option. And it works fine, but it's hard when you want to fill it and then have that, have to put it up and down, etc. So another method that works great is take another metal spoon, a clean metal spoon. Mary, you want to fill up a boiling hot water? Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna get another plate. So I'll show you this here. Okay, just letting you know, after this step, I'm gonna stop and give time for questions again. Okay, so after this step, we'll have another question, another slot for questions. Okay, by the way, you don't want to handle your dreidels too much because you'll feel it if you handle them too long, the heat from your hand alone is, starts to melt them. Okay, so I have 2 halves right over here and I'm going to fill them. So personally, I'm just going to do marshmallows in mine. There is so much chocolate in these chocolates that you have so much chocolate in your hot chocolate just like that. So, and also I want to leave mine non-dairy. I want to leave mine porous. So I'm going to just do the marshmallows. Okay. So I'm just putting them in one side like that. Can you see it well, Mishka? See it good? Should I move anything? Okay. And then I have my cup of boiling hot water over here. I'm going to take it, put it in the hot water for a minute. Take that away. Put in the hot water for a minute, take it out, and just rub it along, just like that. And just that alone is going to start to melt it. Give it another rub, just like that. And already it's starting to melt. See that? Dip it again and do the other side. You do want to work a little quickly because you want to get that nice melted edge to stick to the other one. Okay, so melt, 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 melt. Okay, your edges will be a little uneven and that's okay, no worries. And then you're going to stick them together, just like that. Okay, one of my edges aren't sticking, have a little gap in them. Okay, now I'm going to leave it. I see it's starting to melt from him. Mary, I want to turn on the air. I think it's a little hot in here. I think that's not helping with the chocolate. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it. I feel like it's getting a little sticky on from my fingers. So I'm going to leave it. I have these 2 together. And now I'm just going to put them in the fridge. Okay, so they have the 2 sides. There's pushing them together a little bit. And then I'm going to stick it in the fridge. Right there. Okay, so that is our hot cocoa mold. It's all ready. The next step is going to be to decorate it. Of course, decorating is optional, but it's so much fun. So obviously we want to do it. But I'm going to stop for a moment and take questions. I'm going to turn it around. Okay, a lot of questions. What? Okay, so I'm going to first thing is I'm going to turn to the chat. Whoops, this webcam is doing wiggly things. Okay, so let's look at the chat and see the questions. Okay, Okay, Marsha, yes, you can use almond milk. I'm sorry, Alexandria. Again, I will put my phone number here and please get in touch with me tomorrow and I'll give you lots of hot chocolate. Okay, so there's that. The molds are microwavable. Yes, the silicone. Yes, the dreidel molds can be used. The dreidel molds can be used for anything. They can be baked. They can be used as to make muffins, to make cookies, cupcakes, whatever you want. Absolutely, you can make Jello in them. Really, whatever you want. They're great molds and they're multi-purpose. So that's great. Okay, so I'm going to allow people to unmute themselves if they would like. So if you want to ask a question, now is your time. Go ahead.
Mine totally broke.
Totally broke. No problem. It takes a
Totally
lot.
broke.
Put it, melt it again and start again. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Good. Now, again, the things that you want to look out for, the things you want to look out for is you want to make sure that you got every corner. You want to make sure that it's a nice, significant amount of chocolate. You want to make sure that it's fully set. And you want to make sure you do 2 coats. Okay. Those are all important. And really, really, I think it's about just being really slow and really steady and really gentle when you take it out of the mold. Don't force it. Don't pull it. Just gently, gently keep on rubbing, keep on tapping and pushing, and it'll come out.
Hannah, it's Ava. I just want to let you know, for me, this is really good therapy tonight. Like, it's the first night I'm not crying my eyes out. It's really, it looks so beautiful, this dreidel. It's like a shame to eat it.
I agree. And I'm happy to hear that we're bringing you some joy. I'm happy.
Well, actually, working at Hebrew Academy is also bringing me a lot of joy.
Good. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? If not, then we'll go on to decorating.
Yeah.
Okay,
Where
decorating.
did you put the hot chocolate?
What'd you say?
Where did you put the hot chocolate? Underneath the marshmallows?
Yes, underneath the marshmallows. Yes. So if you're using hot chocolate, sorry, I didn't show that step because I wasn't using it. This is like between 3 and 4 tablespoons of hot chocolate. You can put, however much you want, but we estimated probably like 1 tablespoon per a mold. It's going to be very chocolatey because you have this hot chocolate, you have the hot chocolate, from the dreidel itself. So it's really about however much you want to do. There's no, there's no right and wrong. Okay. Any
Hannah.
questions before we get on to decorating?
Hannah,
Yes.
me?
Yes, Adele, go ahead.
Isn't the hot chocolate like grainy inside? It's not melted.
Right, but that's what the hot chocolate is, like hot cocoa that you like, instant hot cocoa that you mix with hot milk. So, that's what it's meant for. This is not cocoa powder. This is hot cocoa mix like you buy in the, like Nesquik.
Right.
Nesquik, because it's a kosher.
But it's inside.
What?
But it's inside the chocolate.
Right, and then you pour the hot milk on top and then it melts it all together into this delicious, gooey, chocolatey yumminess.
On a what
Hannah.
size?
Donna, is there any way to fill the mold with marshmallows and candy and seal it without doubling it for a full dreidel? So it's like you get 6
not
portions
really.
instead of 3.
No, not really. I mean, unless you have like a flat cover that would cover it, not really, no.
Like if I put marshmallows and let's say jelly beans in, can I spread melted chocolate over it and try to freeze it and then
So
let
you
it out
could-
like
you
No,
could- the only issue with that is that it's going to be really, really solid. So your milk will not, somebody has to mute themselves, sorry.
No, not to use in milk. Like if I wanted it as a Shabbos dessert of chocolate or for a Shabbos party.
You could, it will be very thick. It'll be a lot of, thick chocolate, but yes, you could do that if you'd like.
Okay,
Funnel-
okay, thank you.
I'm
What
confused.
size?
Can I say something?
Yes.
So what you could do with that, if you wanted to use half of the dreidels, is you can do a sheet of chocolate, just like make a flat sheet of it. And and harden it in the freezer, but don't harden it so much that it's hard. And while it's still semi-soft, you can cut away the shape of the dreidel and then take it and flatten it on like a flat sheet. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, got
Basically,
it.
you can make a cover, a lid.
To make a lid instead of putting
Right.
both sides, because I do understand that both sides of the dreidel, it's a lot
It's
of
too
chocolate.
thick, right.
And I'm getting high just from smelling this
Hannah,
candy bar.
does
It's
this
so
melt?
wonderful.
It does melt. The
But-
milk has to be very hot, but it does melt, yeah.
But
What
I would
min-
definitely make a flat sheet.
But
Where did you put milk in?
we're not up to that yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute everybody and we're gonna move on to the next step. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the next step is super fun because it has to do with making our dreidel so beautiful, so that you can really use this as like a centerpiece, you know, at your Hanukkah table. You know, just put a few of these in the middle of the table. They're so gorgeous. And then, you know, people can use them and use them for the chocolate bombs, or you can, you know, have different surprises in them. You don't even have to use them, you know, for chocolate. You can have all different kind of surprises inside and kind of let everybody open them up and crack them, or maybe you even want to put, you know, some you know, I don't know, some Hanukkah gelt inside, whatever you want to do. But they're really pretty. I'll tell you I'll tell you that afterwards, some other usages for it. But basically the way we got this is from drizzling white chocolate. So put this back over here, and over here you have 2 ounces of white chocolate. I'm only going to use, where'd my bag go? No, it was 1 second ago. I just had it. Oh, here, fell in the sink. Okay, there we go. So this bag is different than your regular, your pastry bag, because it's sealed on the bottom. Okay, and that's on purpose. It's, you know, specifically for things like this, making, you know, candies and chocolate and all that. So I'm only going to use 1 square of chocolate now. So that's 1 ounce of chocolate. I don't need more than that. So I'm going to just put it in the bag, which is the easiest thing. I don't have to worry about transferring chocolate into the bag. I'm going to put it in here, and then I'm going to put it into a clean microwavable bowl, and I'm going to melt it that way. The reason why I'm putting it in the bowl is because I tried it the other way, like just putting this directly into the microwave. Let's take away this dirty towel. Just putting the bag in the microwave, and parts of the bag melted. I guess it was too hot against the, you know, against the microwave. So I have my bag. I have the chocolate inside. I'm putting it in my microwavable bowl, and I'm putting it in the microwave. So I'm going to start with 15 seconds again. You know, when you do chocolate, you always want to, you always want to do it slow and build it up. That's how you temper chocolate. Otherwise, you can burn it. And I'm going to get a scissor ready. I'm just going to cut a teeny little slit on the end, and then you really do whatever you want. On the original one I chose to drizzle it and then go over something's wrong with our webcam. Sorry that it's doing that. Hold on. Let's see. I think you have to tighten something here. Here we go. Yes, it's tighten now. Okay. So, what was I saying? Okay, let's check on the chocolate. Okay. So it's definitely needs more time. Go right back in. 15 seconds again. Starting that, I'm going to take the mold out of the fridge. Okay, so my mold is together now, right? So it's, you know, it's one solid piece. Is that melted? Okay, so I'm just going to mush it a little bit with my fingers because it is starting to melt. So, sorry. I'm like thinking that you guys are all standing right here in front of me, that you can see what I'm doing wherever I'm doing it. So I'm just mushing the chocolate. So now it's breaking it into smaller pieces. It helps that melt better. Okay, go back in for another 15 seconds. So I wanted to tell you that you can also use these for other purposes. Like we were talking before that, it's like a lot of chocolate. So another way you can use this at your Hanukkah table is you can make a beautiful dessert out of this. You can put some strawberries, some blueberries, some whipped cream onto a plate, you know, just like that, and put your mold on top and make like a hot chocolate sauce. You can find lots of great recipes for that online, but I know one that I've done in the past was like chocolate chips and some heavy cream just together. And then you drizzle that on top and that melts, you pour the hot cream on top of your mold and then it kind of, you know, melts it into your chocolate. Okay, so again, giving a little smush, definitely a lot softer, but of course it needs another 15 seconds. Isn't it awesome to have a great assistant like Mushka? I know you all wish that Mushka was in your kitchen helping you because She is an awesome help. Mushka eggs all the challahs and coats them with the seeds. So she is awesome. Thank God. So what I did is I drizzled it, and then I did the letters. I outlined the hay and the shin, right? One side of the dreidel has the nun and the gimel, and the other side has the hay and the shin. And the nun stands for nes, which means a miracle. Gimel stands for gadol, which means big. Hay stands for haya, and shin stands for sham. There. So what the letters on the dreidel represent is that a great miracle happened there, remembering the tremendous miracle that Hashem did for the Jews, saving them from the Maccabees and allowing them. Okay, this is soft, but not soft enough. So just another 15 seconds. Allowing them to rededicate the temple. So just the story of the dreidels. So it says that what happened with the Greeks is that they began to outlaw many essential Jewish practices. They outlawed the study of Torah. They outlawed the mitzvah of bris milah, of circumcision. They outlawed the observance of Shabbos, the observance of the holidays. And so what happened is that the people began, the Jews and especially the teachers and students began to run into the mountains, the caves surrounding Jerusalem, and they would hide there from the Maccabees and hide there from the Greeks and study Torah in secret. And they needed some excuse or something to be doing, up in the mountains, in the caves. And so when when the soldiers would come, they would take out these little tops and they would play with the tops, and they would say, oh, this is a game that we have, the custom that we have to come to the mountains and play these games, play with these tops. And that's what they would do. And so that's where we got the custom of playing dreidel. Okay, so my white chocolate is all melted. I'm giving a little snip. Okay, I'm going to show you that there. I want a very fine drizzle. I don't want something really thick. I want it to be nice and elegant. And so I'm going to, sorry, I didn't realize the camera is not showing. There we go. Oops, I got some drizzles. Okay, so look at that. Okay, and if you want to do the sides, you could absolutely continue it along the sides as well, however you like. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to outline the nun over here. Just hold steady and squeeze. And here goes the gimel. Okay. And look at that. Look how beautiful. So next you want to go in with your sprinkles, whichever ones you want. Of course, there's no right and wrong. This is just about decorating. And some of that. Now I'm going to go in with some of the silver. And just drizzle that all over. And there you have it, a really beautiful dreidel. Ta-da! Okay, and the last step is melting our dreidel bomb that we just made. So what we need to do for that is heat up some milk. I'm going to be using almond milk. So I'm going to, there we go, sorry. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to be taking a measuring cup so that it pours, nice and easy, and doing a cup of, just a cup of milk. Again, if you don't want to eat this now, don't do this now. I'm just showing you to demonstrate. Okay. So I'm just going to bring some almond milk. And next I'm going to get a mug. Although I do think that my mug is too small for my dreidel. Look at that. Okay, so it literally fills up my entire mug, just like that. And we're gonna want to get the milk really hot. So I'm just gonna do 1 cup, just using some almond milk. Go ahead. Oh, look at that. Well, it's not even 1 cup. It's 3/4 of a cup, but that's gonna be enough. Okay, so I want to get it really hot. I'm gonna put it in for 2 minutes. I'm gonna do it, 2 minutes. And in the meantime, I'll take questions again. So if you have any questions, let me look at the chat box and see any more questions that came in. Yes, it is easier to, when you cut up the chocolate. Yes, first, absolutely. Yes, you could make raspberry cake in there. That's a good tip too, that if you wear gloves, then your fingers won't melt the chocolate when you touch them. Very true as well. Okay, so I'm gonna allow people to unmute themselves if you'd like and ask questions. Any questions? Any questions? No? I think I let people unmute. So Bonnie wants your keto raspberry diet. I mean, raspberry cake. Okay, no questions. That's great. I'm hoping that everybody's is coming along great. But really, I do think it takes
Absolutely.
practice, right?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, great. My mold looks very different than yours.
Yes.
Are some of them different because my dreidel handle
Yes,
is very thin.
So here.
Yours goes across the entire thing. Mine is just a tiny little.
So these are
and my top is different.
yes, these molds, right? You have yours ready?
See?
Yes, you have these molds and they work the same exact way. I was creating with those. Here, I'll show you that one ready. Okay, that's that one ready. So yes, they work the same.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you for some reason. I don't know why, but they work the same way. So you want to use the same techniques of making sure. Okay, so sorry about that. My internet just, went out on me for a second. But yes, some people do have these molds and they work the same way. All the same principles of gently rubbing the back. Your problem areas are less in these molds actually. You just have the top that you have to worry about and make sure, it's not completely solid, but almost solid. Okay, so we have our milk. It's nice and hot. And here we go. I'm gonna pour it over on the top. Pouring it over, concentrating it in one area. And as you see, it's slowly beginning to penetrate. And slowly beginning to melt. So there we go. We have the milk now is inside and now the top, can you see that? The top is beginning to implode and my marshmallows are coming out. See that? You can't see it good. Okay, so there's our dreidel. It's all melted. It's exploding. The marshmallows are popping out the top. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? And the whole thing is just this delicious, ooey, gooey, yummy melted chocolate. How awesome is that? I think that is such a fun thing to do with kids or grandkids. It's really exciting. So the key to this part is you want to make sure that your milk is really hot. I put it in the microwave for a full 2 minutes. You want to make sure that you use something like this with the spout because when you pour it, you want to concentrate the heat in one location because that will begin to pierce your, your mold and kind of let the heat of the milk come in the inside and it all really explodes into this delicious, gooey, yummy hot chocolate. So, so that is it. I think we covered everything. And of course, continue, going, now we just made one, but you have lots of supplies to make, 3 full delicious hot chocolate molds, hot chocolate bombs. And then of course you have your molds to use again and again and again for whatever it is that you want to make them with. So again, I'll open up the, allow people to talk. I'm really, really happy that we did keep it muted because thank God the first 2 times it was fine. But as you saw the last time, for some reason, I don't know, my internet gets a little crazy when there's too many people trying to talk. So that's what happened last class. That's why we did it like this time. But I will open it and people can unmute, but that is, that's the end of the demo. So if you don't have any questions, then you're free to go. Thank you so much to everybody that helped pack and prepare, the whole culinary club, the whole crew that was there today. We really, really, really appreciate it. There's lots of fun things happening over Hanukkah. I'll tell you about some of them. First of all, don't forget on Sunday at 10 p.m. starts the Give Joy campaign. The live virtual event is going to be, God willing, Sunday night. Again, I believe it's at 7:30, but it's going to be really interesting hearing from, all the matchers as well as some entertainment. So join for that. So over Hanukkah, on the first night of Hanukkah, Thursday night, we're going to be having a menorah lighting right outside the shul. So one second, let me do that a second. So we're going to be having a menorah lighting right outside the shul, socially distanced, just so that we can all get together, light the menorah together for the first night with our Chabad family. We're going to be having some delicious latkes available there, just for everyone to enjoy. So that's going to be Thursday night. Next Friday, we are not doing a challah pick-me-up. We're doing a donut pick-me-up. Now, Yankee said we should actually call it a donut weigh-me-down because we all know that's really what donuts do. But we will be doing a donut pick-me-up. I'm not making them. We're ordering them because I have not mastered donuts. Maybe next year. By next year I will, and maybe who knows, we'll have a culinary donut making event. But we're ordering donuts. They are going to be available for free. You just have to register. An email will go out in the beginning of the week, so look out for that to register for donuts for the donut pick-me-up for next week. Sunday night, of course, is the Grand Menorah Parade. We're going to be driving through all the way through Coral Springs, ending in the Sportsplex, and there's going to be a LED light show there. Lots of giveaways at the different stops and the different locations along the way. So it'll be really, really fun. Join us for that. Wednesday night is going to be a party for kids in the evening. I believe it's going to be at 5:30. I'll post the information about that. Home Depot is not allowing us to do any in-store events. So instead, we're going to be doing a Hanukkah party for kids, again, socially distanced. On Wednesday night instead. So those are the things that are coming up for Hanukkah. Oh, Monday night, there's going to be a Hanukkah class as well. So almost every night there's something else. To enjoy, so we can celebrate Hanukkah together and make this Hanukkah the most memorable, joyful, fun, exciting Hanukkah yet. So I wish you all a happy Hanukkah and a good Shabbos. And I will see you all. Goodbye to all those that are signing off, and I'm going to unmute for anybody that would like to ask questions. So allow participants. There we go. Okay, any questions?
I have a question. Yes. I have a question regarding the white chocolate and the baker bag.
Yes.
When you put the chocolate right in here and fill it up to this line, is that what you did?
I put the chocolate right in there. Where's my bag?
The white chocolate, you just put it right in there.
I just put it right in there. And
okay.
I just folded it like this.
Okay.
I put it into a bowl and then I put it in the microwave.
Okay, put it into a bowl.
Or a mug or something. Just don't put this directly into the microwave like that. I tried it and it made like a little hole in the bag in another spot. So it just touched the microwave itself.
Have you done it in hot water?
Yes, it could work in hot water too. Yes. If you break it up a little bit, meaning now it's kind of one side clear. And if you break it up a little bit, and you could just dip it into a cup of boiling hot water, and that will work as well. Yes.
Okay, my second question is.
Hi, Beth. Hang on.
Hi.
Listen what you can do. You can melt the chocolate in a bowl. You put the bag inside a tall glass, and then you pour it and fold the sides over with the bag. You can even use a Ziploc baggie. Fold the sides over a glass. Take a teaspoon and put the chocolate to the base of it, and then cut a tiny tip, and then you can use it. It works very, very well. Or you can even microwave it right in the bag in the glass. I make chocolate all the time.
Yes,
Terry's right.
That does work as well. Absolutely.
What size
It's
cup do
very
you use
easy.
for this?
An 8-ounce glass or larger, and you put the bag, you make sure the bag is over the side of the glass, and you put the chocolate inside the bag, and you can melt it, or you melt the chocolate first and pour it in. Either one. I make all the time. I make a lot of chocolate. You know, I used to, and I went back to it for like bridal showers and stuff like that. So very, very easy to decorate that way.
Wow, this
And
is
it's
really,
not messy.
this is really, really delicious. I have to tell you.
Yeah. I'm saving mine. I'm not eating it.
Delicious.
Enjoy every
Oh, so
part
good.
of it.
And you also, if
So
you're
good.
handy, you don't
Okay, any
even
other
need to
questions?
use the bag.
Okay,
You
I hear
can just
somebody
take
else
a
wants to
fork.
ask a question. Who
Yeah.
else wants to ask a question?
Hannah, it's not exactly a question.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to do with the chocolate dreidels. It has
Okay.
to do with from last time.
Yes.
I just wanted you to know that my husband and my son and myself liked it so much, especially not the one with the tomato sauce, the one with the chard and the leeks.
Yeah.
And they asked me if I would make it again.
Oh, good.
So off to Dorothy's we went to get pizza flour, because that's different than regular flour.
Yes, absolutely. High
And-
gluten flour.
And really, it was like, will you make this again? And I was like, absolutely, let's go get the flour.
Awesome. Right? Let me just turn back on my video. Okay, there we go. Yes, I'm so happy to hear that. And Esther told me the same thing. And that makes me really happy because we specifically, spend a lot of time trying to find recipes that are unique and not something that you may have made, at home another time, but that you would likely do again. So I'm glad to hear that.
Well, the shopping list has Swiss chard and leeks on it this weekend, and we
Awesome.
already have the pizza flour. So
Good.
we're looking forward to another
I'm really happy to hear
Hannah
that.
and Chabad pizza night.
Awesome.
I have 8 carbonara left. If anyone is still looking for a carbonara.
Okay, Nechama has 8 carbonara. If anyone wants to buy a carbonara to put on their car, then let us know. You're welcome to do that.
Hannah, when
Any other
is the
questions?
culinary event?
What?
When is the next culinary event?
So we were actually just talking about it. I didn't look at the calendar, but somebody's TV is really loud in the background. So if we can just, whoever that is, if you can just mute yourself. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not certain because I didn't look it up, but I could pull it up on my computer screen right now. So give me 1 minute. And let's go to our events. Events, there we go. And let's go to Culinary Club and let's look at all our dates right here. Okay, so the next event we have is January 7th, Stoops and Stews and One Pot Wonders. Okay, so that's the next event. And I actually just heard of a brand new cookbook that came out that has apparently a lot of one pan and one pot stuff. So I'm going to be doing some research on that, and God willing, we'll have lots of delicious recipes for next month, for January 7th. Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, so good night, ladies. Thank you for everyone for joining.
Okay.
It was so good to see some of you today, and I look forward and I hope to see all of you soon. Laila Tov, good night. Have a good Shabbos and happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah.
Same to you. Happy